For those of you I haven't met yet, I am Brigadier General Bob Randian. I'm the commander of the Florida Air National Guard. I am an American airman, and I'm a warrior. Now, I'm an old fart. If you give me a weapon, I'll help protect this base. You send me overseas and the bad guys are trying to overrun our base, I'll take some of them out. They may get to me, but I'll take some of them out. I'll tell you that. Because there's some bad guys out there, and I'm proud of our heritage. I'm proud of what you just watched in that little clip. And with that, I'll ask you, here we have some young folks in here, so maybe you'll be smarter than the other 750 people I've talked to so far in the Florida Air Guard. Only one person has told me the significance of that date. Who can do that? Anybody? Shout it out. What is it? Soundberry? That's a good one. I would like that one. In fact, I probably should know that one. Anybody else? 1953, a long time ago. What was it? Founding of the Air Force. That's a good, that's close. Yeah, 49, you're getting close, but a few years away. I'll tell you, because no one can get it so far, and I didn't know it. Was it? Starting in the Air Guard, that's a pretty good one too. 1953, April 15th, a long time ago. That is the last time that a U.S. service member of any service in our organization was killed by enemy air. The rest of Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm 1, Desert Storm 2, all the things that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines have done throughout the world, that's the last time the enemy got to them from the air. You're part of that heritage. So how did we become the greatest Air Force in the world? The greatest Air Force in history. That's what you're a part of right now. It started with some folks before us. There's a guy, Doolittle. Who knew what Doolittle did? Anybody? Yes, sir. Stand up real quick. What did he do? Yeah? You know what he flew off of? He flew off an aircraft carrier called the Hornet. So basically, in World War II, the Japanese were pretty much taking us out in the Pacific. And they're so far away, they knew that their mainland couldn't get hit. Just too much distance in there. And we couldn't hit it. So some innovative thinkers said, let's take a B-25, let's strip it down as much as we can, let's put as much gas on as possible, some weapons, and let's go bomb Japan. And he needed volunteers. And oh, by the way, it's a one-way mission. You don't have enough gas to get home. You're going to bail out over enemy territory, you're going to bail out overseas, and we got nobody to pick you up. And he had volunteers to do that. And they did that mission. They bombed Heartland, Japan. Japan said, whoa, and they realized, the Japanese leadership realized that they were vulnerable. The United States was going to take the war to them. It boosted morale in the United States, the citizens and soldiers, airmen, Marines, through that.
Grab your attention, please. All E1 to E4s report to the DFAC immediately unless you are PT testing or drug testing. Say again, all E1 to E4s report to the DFAC immediately unless you are PT testing or drug testing.
They're missing a great presentation. That's all I got to say. So the significance of this is a great airman, an American airman, and a warrior. And these three gentlemen here are three of the last surviving members of the Doolittle raid. Out of all the pilots, co-pilots, bombardiers, loadmasters, there's 4 of them left. One of them couldn't make it because of health reasons. And every year they toasted their fallen comrades. Those behind them is some goblets that they would toast, and as somebody passed away, they would turn it upside down. There was only 4 of them left, and they said, we can't do this anymore. And so they had the final toast. And that was this past November, about 6 months ago. Colonel Ralph Parr, our PA shop, Lieutenant Phillips over there helped set this together, said, hey, I love this guy. Because his attitude of why he wanted to serve was so simple. He said, when I grew up, you either wanted to fight or didn't want to fight, and I wanted to fight. And he fought. Look at that chest full of medals. Over 60 medals. Over 20 of them were air medals, 1 silver star, 6,000 combat hours, and 600 swords. Truly amazing. That guy was an American airman. He was a warrior. And then finally, we lost this guy last year. Bud Day, very famous, 5-year POW. And his leadership in the Hanoi Hilton is what brought other people home, like Senator McCain and the others who said they came home with dignity because of his leadership for 5 years of daily torture. One time the Vietnamese came in when they were doing a prayer, which was illegal, put a gun right in his forehead, And as he looked at that guy, he yelled, he started singing the Star Spangled Banner at the top of his voice. Talk about an American warrior, a hero. So why did they do what they did? Why did they serve? And really, why did you sign up? Why are y'all getting ready to lead us in the future? And why are you staying? You know, as you progress, why are you hanging with the Florida Air National Guard? Our PA shop polled some of the folks here in the fighter wing and other places, and here's what they had to say.
My father had been in World War II as a Marine in the Pacific.
My dad served briefly in the Army.
My mom was working like 3 jobs, wanted to try to do something to help out.
You don't have a lot of opportunities in your life to help people. You don't have a lot of opportunities to meet people that share your same beliefs.
The motivation was always there to be part of something bigger than myself, which the military is, of course.
So I come out here and started talking to the recruiters, and being an aircraft maintenance technician just sounded awesome. It was something that just looked fun. To come out here and walk through the hangar, and it was just it sparked up just a big interest in me.
I always knew I wanted to go into the military, but I really didn't know much about it. But my first sense of pride came when I was graduating boot camp. And you had all the families sitting there watching you, and that's when I first got my first sense of pride. But since I've been here at the Florida Air National Guard, I've gotten more involved, and I've had some really good mentors, so that's what's making me love being here, because I enjoy the people, I enjoy what I do.
Everyone's motivated differently for reasons that they serve, I think. Some people, airmen, join up probably for education benefits, but once they get in, they become like the rest of us. They get hooked. They get hooked on belonging to a team, to a motivated group of individuals who serve something greater than themselves individually.
The Guard, it's more family oriented than I've seen in the reserves or active duty, because you have a lot of people that's been in place for a long time. And there's a lot of knowledge there. They take you under your wing, they take care of you, they look out for you. They steer you in the right direction.
Dear to me is the fellowship of people that thought the same way I did. There was a need to serve. And when you're around a bunch of people like that, I think it deepens your friendship, and you get real friends. Friends that stand by you and understand you. And I cherish all my military friends. I'm at an age now where most of my contemporaries are gone, but I see the young people that are in the Guard, and I know that they're the best people in America. I love them. I just think their mindset is right. They want to do something for their country, and by gosh, they're doing it.
All right, so there's a website, the Eagle's Eye magazine, for y'all who don't know yet, is a publication we put out. The Air Force has said, hey, we got to go paperless. You got to go paperless, so that's online. If you get a chance to look at it, you go to the Florida Air National Guard website. There's a link to that. But we're trying to show articles about you and highlight you, and I'll tell you about some videos we're trying to make in the future about you. So that was their why. So a question for you, what's your why? We asked a couple folks, our PA folks found a couple of people. First one was Master Sergeant Acree over in the Med Group. She says, my father, Robert Brown, was in the Air Force and encouraged me to join for the benefits and education. I am the only one out of 1 of 6 kids that joined in my father's footsteps. I joined to make a difference in the benefits for education. I joined the Florida Guard to get exposure to traveling and make a difference in the world, helping members when they were sick or hurt and to support our country. I love my job as a 4N medical tech. Our chaplain, Sarah Shirley, Lieutenant Colonel, said, America's warriors deserve the very best spiritual care, and by serving in the Florida Guard, I remain qualified, ready, and available to ensure that care is provided wherever in the world it is needed. And then Senior Airman Devine, one of our ammo troops, said, we are here at the 125th. We here at the 125th are a family, forged by a great love of country and utmost respect for those who have gone before us. At That's a good one. I wear my uniform with pride, my heart soars and my soul sings whenever the Star Spangled Banners play. I bleed red, white, and blue. Wow. And then Staff Sergeant Ebony Hills, Bioenvironmental Engineering in the Med Group, says, I joined because I'm from a military family and I'm continuing to honor my family tradition of being part of something great. I also joined because I want my son to be proud of me and proud to tell people what his mom does. I also love Florida weather. Yeah, me too. I was just up in Syracuse for 2 weeks at a school and it rained and was cold every single day. And I was so happy to come back to Florida. My real question for y'all is, what's your why? Why did you join? Why are you hanging? And why we need you to hang? Why your country and your state needs you to hang? There's a guy that, when I was talking to my PA folks, I said, hey, here's what I want to talk about. And they go, hey, there's a book. I go, really? There's a book? Of course, my first thought, is there a movie? Can I watch the movie instead? But this thing is called Start With Why. This guy, Simon Sinek, and I'm going to summarize it in about 3 slides. Simon asserts, I made the mistake of saying Simon says to a couple other groups, and they started laughing. So Simon asserts that every person, every unit, every organization operates and can describe their journey through life on 3 levels. What you do, how you do that, and why you do that. Pretty straightforward on the what. What you do. It's the service or product that you provide, even in the military or in industry. A lot of industry provides products. You provide a service to the United States of America, a service to the state of Florida, what you do. The next one is how. How you do your job is pretty straightforward. Okay, that's pretty easy to explain. It's the process by which you provide that product or service, in your case, a service. It's fairly easy to explain. A little harder is when people look at you and say, well, why do you do that? Why do you do your job? Let me think about it a second. And so most people very easily start from the outside and work in. The easiest to explain. Like if you're at a party and I walk up to you and say, hey man, what do you do? Hey, I do this. Oh yeah, what do you do? And you kind of small talk. And if they're really interested, they go, well, how do you do that? And you explain it. But how many times at a party or something, they go, why do you do that? Why do you do what you do? You just don't ask it. Now leaders, which you're all either doing it or you're going to be leaders, and that's what we're trying to do in the Florida Air National Guard. We are trying to develop leaders at a faster rate than any other state can do it. That's our commitment to you. General Eifert, who's the ATAG, Chief Lee, we're going to do some Q&A here in a few minutes. But we want to develop you as leaders as best as we can for the Air Force and for your civilian jobs. So that if anybody looks at your resume and you're trying to get a job, they go, Florida Air National Guard, hire them. I don't even need an interview, just hire them. So great leaders start with the why of your organization, and they motivate those because you're going to be supervisors someday trying to motivate a group like this. Why do I need you to re-enlist one more time? Why do I need you to hang out one more year? Why do you want to be here? And it's kind of a deeper commitment, and it might help you make the right choice as to stay in. Because, again, you start with one thing. I wanted to fly jets. That's all I cared about. I wanted to fly jets. And that took me through about the 20-year point. I was going to get out. I'm actually drill status. How many people drill status in here? Okay, so I did 9 years active duty. I've been in drill status for 22 years. I was going to do 20 and out, get the benefits at age 60, get a retirement, love flying jets. Then I was asked to do other jobs, and I said, okay, I'll do the other jobs. First I said if I could keep flying. And then eventually the flying thing went away. So I had to have another reason to stay, and it was for you out there. It was so General Eifert and I and Chief Lee can figure out how to help you do your job. Take care of you when you're having medical issues. Take care of you when you're having pay issues. So my why changed. And I'll tell you, I went to the Air Force Academy with General Eifert, and I hated it. About once a week for 4 years, I thought about quitting. Because my buds were all at University of Florida, FSU, I grew up in Orlando, UCF, USF, and they were talking about what a great time they're having. And I said, you know what? I'll just stick it out another year and see what happens. And man, I am so glad I did. Because I got to do some pretty cool stuff in our Air Force and really cool stuff in Air National Guard. So there's a lot of reasons. It may be that higher calling that you heard people talk about, and you heard some of your airmen that I read their quotes, to serve their nation, to serve their country. It might be the mission. You got a great, cool mission. We've done this rebalancing to the Pacific, and our F-15s are ready to go. And just like I read from the medical services, you guys are helping people all over the world. Had a great trip down to Ghana, and just trained up and certified at the CERT-P mission, where we're ready to help out in disasters in Florida. So the mission is pretty darn cool and having fun. And I know you're figuring out how to do some of that stuff in the wing with some of your family days, with your football program. I think you got, soccer. You got soccer going now. So there's a lot of fun to be had in our organization. There's a lot of benefits. How many here have heard about the Florida GI Bill? It's a boost to EDD. It's not the regular GI Bill. General Eifert and I were just up in Tallahassee, and they voted on a Florida GI Bill. There's so much money right now for education. General Titshaw, our Adjutant General, doesn't think we can spend it this year. And oh, by the way, the Florida GI Bill, as long as you submit your paperwork by June 15th, they want to pay you for the last 2 years, any money you put out. So if you don't know about that, you need to check it with your base education office, or there's also a little pamphlet on the way out. You're going to be able to pick one of these up, and it talks about EDD, and it's got a phone number. So call that up and use that money, and because it's out there. Lots of benefits in the Guard. Medical benefits, you need to be thinking about that, because the healthcare costs are soaring at age 60. It's a long ways away, but it's not that far for me. That benefit is an awesome benefit. So something to consider. You hang out with some pretty cool people. If you look left and right of you, there's some pretty cool people in this room that are fun to hang out with. So I'd ask you to think about your why, especially if you're not sure you want to hang, because we need you. We need some really good people. We have a great reputation in the Air National Guard, in the Air Force. We require the highest ASVAB scores, the highest entrance requirements. We have a high standard, and people that can't get in the Air Force go in other services because they can't make the cut to get in. And this is the room. You know, later today I talked to some senior enlisted and officers. They're not the future, you're the future. You're the future of how our country is going to make it through these tough fiscal times, through all the threats that are out there throughout the world, and to help our citizens when that hurricane comes and hits Florida. It's not cheap to put these things together. Lieutenant Phillips over there was asking me for money, so we finally had to go out and get a sponsor to help us do this program. So everybody's got a sponsor, so I got to put mine up here.
What do you think you're looking at, huh? Well, you don't like the way I drive? Why you put money on your license? You want a piece of me? What's going on? Get you some, huh? Where you can go now, so you can't speak up for anybody. If you're better than me, well, you got to like my voice. What are you going to think you got? Huh? Keep out.
The Trump Monkey, a revolutionary idea you'll only find in suburban auto. I think approved by Attorney General.
All right, back in the trunk.
Does your boss ever say that? Hey, okay, you're done. Get back in the trunk. Love that trunk commercial. So how can you help? How can you help us maintain the best Air Force there is? Because you see the surveys out there. Every year, American public gets surveyed, and they talk about what is the professional organization you respect the most and trust, and which ones do you trust the least? Who ends up at the bottom of that list every year? Who? Banks? Banks or big business? Big business, yep. Government, there's a specific part of government too that ends up there. Congress, yeah, Congress. Is that? Yeah, so who ends up at the top of the list? Who's the most respected in the United States? The military is always either the number one or up there high. Who else do you think? Think of your services, firefighters, lawyers. He's a comedian. Yeah, I make the jokes, okay? No, the other is small businesses. America trusts small business owners, which makes sense. But you know what? We're not going to stay there, and we've eroded. Why have we eroded? Because stupid general officers and admirals and colonels have done some stupid things with their extramarital relations. They've taken money, they've flown jets they shouldn't have flown, and used it for their benefit. Younger enlisted troops, mid-level, have used that GRAP program for enlistment and stolen money basically from the government. And that happens around us, and it's a shame because you don't see, if you mess up, they're not going to say Blanton, Airman Blanton did something in the paper. He works for, where do you work? Plumbing. Hey, plumber Blanton. They're going to say Florida Air National Guardsman Blanton. That's what will happen if you mess up. And that's the reputation will continue down if we don't do something. So how can you help? When I talk to especially the chiefs and the senior enlisted, I'm telling you, it's your organization. You need to figure out what you want to do with this organization, especially as you progress up in your rank. And then you take it to your leaders. And they should be supporting you. By the same token, if you see someone in your organization that ain't hacking it, that's not doing what they need to do, you need to say something to somebody. Because we have 3 core values that are awesome. I've looked at other people's core values, I've looked at companies, I've looked at the navies, the armies. These are the best ones. I mean, these 3 small words mean a huge amount. Integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. That last picture was the Air Force Academy. General Eifert and I went there, and they had an honor code that said, "We will not lie, steal, or cheat, nor will we tolerate anyone else who does." So we're going to hold a higher standard to ourselves, but we're also going to make sure those left and right of us are not doing it either, so that we can uphold the reputation that those ones that have gone before us have done. Service, you guys rock. You guys, it is service before self. I've been here at the fighter wing, I've seen the hours you put in prior to inspections. The Surf B team, the med folks right here, just got qualified in their mission, and that's to help in the DISCA, defense support of civil authorities when hurricanes and natural disasters hit Florida. So they're ready to go. And then excellence in all you do. You just rock on all the inspections. Every time something comes up, the 125th Fighter Wing, you guys get accolades after accolades. When General Eifert, Chief Lee, and I travel throughout the country and they hear we're from Florida, they go, "Man, you guys have your act together. You guys have a great reputation." And that's what we have. And we need you guys. And General Titchall calls it leading from the middle. Some of you are just getting started, but you're going to be moving up, and a lot of you are in the middle right now. And it's you that need to lead from the middle, look around. It's not up to your chiefs to figure out who's messing up, because you see it happening. You need to just grab them by the arm and correct them before they start going in a bad direction. Because we're human beings, and we're going to be tempted by things, and we need to hold each other accountable. That's what I would ask you to do. The other thing is we have to treat each other with dignity and respect. This guy here, the 4-star general, chief of staff of the Air Force, has a little short tape on here on dignity and respect.
As the chief and I wandered around the Air Force the last couple of months, we've had a number of people talk to us and tell us that they don't feel respected. They don't feel like they're included in their office or their organization. They don't feel like the people around them believe that diversity is the strength of our Air Force, which it clearly is. There are a lot of places in our Air Force where people don't believe that we have an environment that actually masks predatory behavior that can lead to sexual assault. I'm here to tell you that it's out there. And I think it's time we just looked ourselves in the mirror and were honest about this as an issue. We're all part of this problem. All of us have passed things in our environment that we could have corrected and didn't. Whether it was an inappropriate joke or an offensive comment, most of us let it slide. And in doing so, we've allowed that bad behavior to become normal around us. In some cases, we've even made the excuse that that bad behavior is part of our heritage. I'll tell you that I don't agree with that. Robin Olds is part of my heritage. Eddie Rickenbacker is part of my heritage. My father is part of our heritage. Ralph Parr, Bud Day, those are all parts of our Air Force heritage. Everybody in our Air Force should feel respected. They should feel critically important to what we do because they are. They should feel included in your organization and the mission. We should all recognize that diversity is very clearly the strength of this Air Force and will take us to places we could not have gotten to without it. If you don't feel you can be part of that culture change, it's time to look for a different job because we're moving forward. So, folks, thanks for what you do. Thanks for making me proud every single day. Take care of each other.
All right. We will not tell inappropriate jokes. We will not conduct any inappropriate touching. We will not exclude people who are not like us. We won't have cliques, nor will we tolerate anyone else who does. Because on the one hand, I'll tell you, we need you to stay one more enlistment, one more year. However, if you can't do what that 4-star, that chief said, do the things that you know you would like your brothers and sisters and how you would want them to be treated, it's time for another job. I'm okay with that. We don't need people like that bad. So I need you to make sure that when somebody's telling that inappropriate joke, get them off to the side, just say, man, that wasn't smart. okay? Because we can fix each other. And I was part of that culture as a fighter pilot. We thought it was awesome to cuss, say things in front of people that made them feel uncomfortable. It was okay to tell inappropriate jokes because, hey, it's just us, we're in the back room here. No, it's not appropriate. And he realized that because he was a fighter pilot, he did it too, and it was wrong. It's a different age, and it's wrong. It always has been wrong, and we need to hold each other accountable because the public is holding us accountable.